Man, what a time to be alive if you are a horror fan. This generation of gaming so far has brought us some really good and peak survival horror games. And this is one of my favorite genres in gaming, man, because, you know, I really love video games that make me feel, whether it's joy, scary, laughing. I just like feeling things when I play video games, and horror games that's done really well, whether it's something like a Silent Hill 2 remake, Dead Space remake, Alan Wake 2. It just doesn't matter, man. As long as it makes me feel the type of way, feel intense, get my heart beating a little bit, man, I absolutely love it, man. And this year has been pretty good for survival horror games, man. This generation, like I mentioned, as a whole has been. Alan Wake 2 is like fantastic in my opinion. Even the little smaller independent games like Still Wakes the Deep, I think that's a really dope horror game as well, man. So I want to give my props to Konami because they've been cooking a bit, and shout out to Bloober Team as well. Check out my Chronos The New Dawn review if you haven't already. I absolutely love that game as well. And Silent Hill 2 remake is actually one of my favorite survival horror games of this generation and probably of all time. Like, honestly, the sound and audio in that game is just haunting, yo. So yeah, man, I'm a big fan of survival horror games. I love Resident Evil. I can't wait for Requiem next year. So when I seen Silent Hill F get announced and it was coming a year after Silent Hill 2 remake, you best believe I was excited for it. This was one of the first Silent Hill games that I know of. Maybe The Room, you can count that as well, but this was one of the first Silent Hill games that don't take place in Silent Hill, and I thought that was dope. And the fact that it's taking place in Japan made it even doper, because I think Japan is a really good backdrop for horror, man. I just think that's just the culture. It's just so many things that just goes well with horror over there, and I think that's a good lane to be explored. Shout out to Ghostwire Tokyo as well. But with that being said, man, I was really excited for this game. Bought it day one. Took my time chopping it down. Took me just under 24 hours for my first playthrough. I tried to scramble for every nook and cranny. I played with the puzzles on hard and the combat on normal. I'm going to do a hard combat playthrough now and a relaxed story puzzle difficulty for my new game plus, because it is multiple endings. You have to play the game multiple times to get the true ending. So I love that, and I'll touch on that more in a bit. But man, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share with a plan. The YouTube algorithm has been hoeing your boy over, but I do these reviews for the passion and the love of just talking about gaming and hoping other like-minded gamers come across my videos, whether it's 5 views or 500 views. It don't matter. I'm just always grateful. So subscribe if you like what you hear today. Non-biased, non-paid for reviews, man. Let's get into it. So man, the first thing I want to talk about with this game is the graphics, the gameplay, and the art design. And this game is absolutely beautiful, man. I played on my PS5 Pro. I played in the enhanced mode. I believe it's only one mode on the Pro, which is strange because on the other consoles you get a 30 FPS option and a 60 FPS option, but here we only get the 60 FPS option. But I wasn't mad at that because I prefer 60. I just like having options, in video games. But this game was absolutely gorgeous, man. I just think it's one of the best looking Unreal Engine 5 games this year. This game had a good length too to it, in my opinion. I know I went out my way to do everything like that, but it's a lot of variety in this. You got your with all Silent Hills, you got your other world, like, your spirit world and the real world. And both games is absolutely beautiful, man. The town was hunting, take place in the 1960s, man. That atmosphere was really good. I thought the gameplay was solid too. I didn't think I was going to be, a fan of certain aspects of the game, like the weapon durability. But, it's always enough weapons around, and it didn't really, like, hinder my experience in any way or form. It is multiple melee options, which is, in my opinion, a step up from Silent Hill 2 remake, because, you had your gun, but you only had, like, the metal pipe, and before that, the little wooden weapon. So having things like crowbars, axe, knives, sickles, that stuff was really dope, man. So the gameplay was really solid. Like I said, the art design was just absolutely beautiful. It ran smooth on my Pro, but it wasn't perfect, and this is why I said I wish it had options, because during certain set pieces and gameplay sections, maybe when you're running, a chase sequence, let's call it that, a chase sequence when you're running and it's a lot of fog, it's a lot of the flowers are chasing you, enemies is popping up. It didn't happen a lot, but I did notice a couple frame drops here and there, but that was really my only problem. But I do got to mention that I'm on a pro. That should not be a problem. Konami got a record of not having the best optimized pro ports. Silent Hill 2, this is a huge step up from Silent Hill 2 in my humble opinion as far as the PS5 Pro support. But you also look at Metal Gear Delta. I know that got a patch lately that really improved that, but as far as day one performance, they leave a bit to be desired, but it is nice that the game has been receiving updates and stuff behind the scenes, so that's always nice. So I think the graphics, the gameplay, and the art design is just stellar, man. Absolutely huge fan of it. One of the prettiest games this year, this generation. And like I said, for this to be a big game and so beautiful and so much content, for it to be only 35 gigs of storage, that is really impressive as well. I don't think a lot of people talk about the storage of these games, but a lot of these games is getting bigger and bigger, no matter the platform. Even Switch 2 games is getting really big, man. So storage is something that should be touched on here and there. So I like to commend games that is beautiful, big, full of content, and just like somehow under 40 gigs. To me, is absolutely insane. So next, guys, we gotta talk about the music and sound design, and they nailed it again. Now I will say, I still think Silent Hill 2 remake overall, with the music and just the hunting atmosphere tone, I think that kind of takes the cake, but this is a close second, man. The music in this game got that Japanese aesthetic with the horror twist on it, man. Absolutely fantastic. They got some, man, just the music and culture over there is really well done anyway, man. So this game is no shortcoming. It's very well done. The sound design is really good too, man. Plenty of times I was walking through woods and walking through sections, and I always felt something like watching me, something eerie. I always heard something ruffling in the leaves, making me check over my shoulder and turn around. So that right there is a example of really, really good sound design, man. And the voice acting is great, man. Now I played my first playthrough in English, no subtitles. English first playthrough always likes to feel immersive when I do that with these style games. But man, they sounded great, man. The main character Hinako, she sounded great. The surrounding cast sounded great. Everybody sounded good, man. Nothing seemed out of place. And coming from playing a game like Lost Soul Aside with their English voice acting, man, yeah, it make me appreciate these English casts that does a really good job. And I did start a New Game Plus. I didn't finish it. I literally just started it right after rolling credits, and I'm playing this one in Japanese, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a bit more immersive because it just sounds that like much better, and not even better, I would say. It sounds natural, with the setting, her being Japanese, you're being in Japan, it just seems a lot more natural. So I'm excited for this New Game Plus playthrough, playing in a native language. So next thing I want to touch on is the story and the attention to detail. And I'm gonna keep it brief on the story, because honestly, you do have to play the game multiple times to get true endings and even clearer understandings, from what I understand. So I'm doing that now, but I want to just touch on the initial playthrough, and I won't spoil anything. But the story is pretty much about Hinako having a battle within herself, wanting to have some freedom, wanting to remain innocent as a child, wanting to be able to make her own mistakes and not live under what society in that time period of what the expectations of women was to be. So I think this is very dope, man. The way they handle it on the first playthrough alone it leaves a lot of mystery, and as just things unravel, I had a lot of questions, and it wasn't until the very end I started like putting things together. And I played about like maybe 30-40 minutes of just starting the game up again on a New Game Plus, and I am finding different notes that are hinting to her not wanting to be forced into a marriage from her parents and stuff like that, and just the dynamic of her friends and what's going on in her head. It's just a really good story, man. Silent Hill always comes with that psychological horror, really try to make you think and really try to mess with your brain. And I love Resident Evil. It's one of my favorite survival horror franchises, man, period. They just make great games, period, man. I love Capcom. I'm a Capcom stan, but Silent Hill 2, man, is really giving it a run of the money for becoming my favorite survival horror franchise, because I really just like the psychological aspect of, you know, the Silent Hill games I played so far, and that's really only 2 remake, and this it just makes the characters have, you know, battles within themselves, and that's something you don't really get from Resident Evil. You know, whether you're Leon or Claire or Jill, it don't seem like people is really having those eternal battles of having guilt and having did something wrong. So that aspect alone for me is like really dope and awesome, man. So next I want to talk about the combat, man. And the combat was really good, man. I know the combat to me, it was solid. Was it the best thing ever? No. And I can see some people becoming frustrated with it. You know, it got the stamina management. You know, you got to manage your supplies, typical survival horror, and, you know, keep certain things. But I'm going to be honest, I was a fan of the combat. I like having to manage my stamina. It was a little frustrating running out sometimes, but all I did was to counter that was invest in the stamina upgrades. You can upgrade your character, upgrade your health. Like I said, a new game plus is going to make every playthrough even smoother because, you know, you can continuously get updates and upgrades. So I really enjoyed that. I don't think the combat is horrible. You know, I like using certain weapons more than others. I love heavy weapons. They do what they supposed to do. The durability wasn't a problem, and you know, I didn't like. It's nice not having firearms. You know, I'm trying to like put the words together because I really enjoyed the fuck out of Silent Hill 2. But, you know, I enjoyed shooting in that game after having to use combat to start the game, right? But the fact that I didn't get tired of using the combat in this game and didn't feel the need like, man, I wish she had a gun, or I wish I can shoot these monsters. I thought it was dope, man. And this game has some really dope boss fights. And when you go to the other world, you get an actual weapon too. So that's dope. And then it's a part of the game where, you know, something happened in the story and you get an even better weapon, which I won't, you know, spoil because I want people to go play the game and see themselves, man. So long story short, the combat is amazing. I really enjoyed it. Next and last thing, guys, we got to talk about the replayability, and I think the replayability is great. You know, that's what I really love about Silent Hill games. You know, like when you play, you know, Resident Evil game, yeah, they got replayability as far as like, you know, you want to find every you know, just every trophy. Let's just say you trophy hunting. There's a lot of things to do in it, whether it's find every note or, you know, find every gun, get a certain amount of money and stuff like that. See, Silent Hill does it different with these new game plus because the story actually changes. Certain things within the story changes, puzzles changes, and stuff like that. So for me, man, I think it's really dope to have new game pluses because, you know, it's about 5 endings in this game, and, you know, maybe you only want to get one ending this year, and then maybe, you know, in a year or two you want to run it back, you itching to play the game again, so you get a second ending. Maybe, you know, later that year you want to go get the third ending. For me, I want to get a couple endings off rip. So, you know, the 24 hours I just spent in this game is about to be another 20 hours from doing a new playthrough and seeing a lot of different and unique things, man. So, man, this has been an amazing game, man. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the, you know, upper echelon survival horror games this generation. One of the best games this year, in my humble opinion. I really enjoyed it, man. I think it's a survival horror masterpiece, man. Flaws and all. I really enjoyed this game, and if you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.